Welcome to another East Trade Winds presentation with Colin McIntosh from sheetsresume.com.
I'm the founder of a bedding brand called Sheets Giggles. Makes sustainable, say we, the brand, the company that I started makes sustainable pillows, blankets, sheets, comforters, all made out of, instead of cotton or polyester or bamboo, which all have their sustainability drawbacks, a product called LyoCell, which is usually made from eucalyptus trees. It's kind of like a cousin to bamboo viscose, but instead of using carbon disulfide like bamboo viscose does, it uses amine oxide in the solvent process, which is infinitely reusable, harmless to environments and workers, whereas bamboo's carbon disulfide is a little dangerous to environments and workers and can't be reused and recycled in each batch. My first 2 years in business were insane. I incorporated the company, like I said, 3 weeks after getting laid off in September 2017. 1 year later, in October 2018, I shipped our first box. I also won Denver Startup Week first place. Actually, it's 1 year to the day after I got laid off in my last job. I won first place at Denver Startup Week. And then 2 years later, in November 2020, we were on Good Morning America as their small business spotlight for Black Friday 2020. They interviewed me in my home. It was really wonderful. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, stood in as the interviewer because they couldn't fly the interviewer out. They could only get the camera crew out to Denver. And so that was a really fun memory of like this day with my dog and my girlfriend and my company on GMA. It was really wonderful. And that was our first $1 million sales month. And it wasn't a fluke. I think January also did over 1 million sales in 2021 and did it a few more times as well. We've been featured in all sorts of different press. Like you see, I've done belly flop on national TV into bed. That's probably my favorite thing I've ever done is blow out all the slats in that mattress and that bed frame. Just destroyed it when I landed. 200 pounds, cannot belly flop into bed without ruining your bed frame. And you guys can probably tell I have never lost touch with my inner child. I love having fun, joking around. Sheets and Giggles is sort of just my joke gift to the world. Have a blank canvas. I used to have a beard. I moved to Miami. Now I have a mustache. And you can kind of see we've had a really fun brand presence over the years. We've been in so many different publications. It's been great to see the reception to the brand. I really did not expect this type of reception. When I started the company, all I wanted to do was make $3,000 a month to pay my rent, eat pasta, and not lose my healthcare suddenly again, because that was like the fourth time I think I had been fired or laid off. And for those who are in the US, for some reason, your healthcare is tied to whether or not you are employed. And so I was kind of tired of that happening to me. And I get a question a lot, like, why bedding? Why bed sheets? And it's a fair question, because we're not hardware. You could call us software, but bedding is a highly fragmented market. Traditionally, physical retail. In 2017, when I started the company, there was a few players doing it with online direct-to-consumer sales, and there was no brand differentiation visually, product-wise. It was all cotton or polyester. In fact, 2/3 of the market was polyester, 1/3 was cotton, and like 5% was like every other fabric: silk, hemp, linen, eucalyptus. Like, it was just 2017 was a wasteland in the bedding industry. And so we did things a little differently. This is my friend Virginia, my friend Tony. All my models and all my ads have always been my good friends. I think there's like an electricity that bleeds off the screen when you know the people in photo shoots. This is her. You guys will get this. No offense. It seems like a slightly age-appropriate crowd to get the joke. She's sawing logs, and I've always loved this bit. It's like, we're sawing logs in the bedroom. And the younger audience doesn't get that joke. They're like, "What are you talking about? What is song?" I'm like, "It's snoring. You guys don't know anything." And then eucalyptus LyoCell is actually a wonderful product. So not only is it highly sustainable, considered the most sustainable fabric in the world, it's also softer than cotton, lower coefficient of friction. It's cooling. It's breathable. It retains 10% of the moisture in the air and its cellular structure. So when you touch it, it has this incredibly nice cooling feeling, like that crisp, cool feel when you get into bed. Sweat will never pool under you. It spreads out and evaporates. You guys can kind of see. So we actually won best overall sheets in Good Housekeeping. This is a physical print of the magazine. My mother is like the last 7 people on earth that gets Good Housekeeping delivered to her house. And she sent me this picture one day. She goes, "Did you know you won best overall sheet?" I said, "No." I said, "It's amazing." I literally just, this plucky company that her son started, beat out, I mean, who are the other people here? LL Bean, Amazon Basics, Garnet Hill. I think the other page was like Brooklyn and Bowen Band Branch. and I was best overall. You can see I don't even bother to iron my sheets in my photo shoots because who irons their sheets? It's psychotic. And all my competitors iron their sheets. And I think it's just the most sociopathic thing in the world to ever do is like iron your sheets. And so you can see in our advertisements, our sheets are wrinkled. And, some people call that out in the ad. They're like, it doesn't look appealing to me. Other people are like, it's not for you. It's for me, the messy person who would never, ever, ever steam their sheets. And it's been really fun resonating with my audience. I find that people should build brands for people who are like themselves. And I've had a really fun time engaging with really millions of people over the last better part of a decade on an incredibly one-to-one personal basis. Terrific reviews, just absolutely rave reviews and cult following. We've been able to launch pillows, mattresses. I missed the company already, but it was a really fun ride. And I'm proud of myself that we delivered a mattress made in Phoenix. We delivered a pillow made in Denver. Our sheets were made in India and Bahrain mostly. And quick shout out so you guys can tell your friends, tariffs are really dumb and they threaten American jobs because they're complementary jobs that are made possible by products that you start making overseas. So I started making the sheets in India, and eventually I had people in Denver and in Phoenix making my pillows and mattresses. The people in Denver were actually formerly incarcerated Coloradans that I paid a living wage, helped them get back on their feet, reconnect with their families, get clean. Really life-changing work in Denver with the pillow. And all that was possible because I started working with Indian manufacturers. Quick political soapbox there. And our customer care is the best in the industry. This is crazy to me. Over 2,000 responses on our customer care survey over time. And only 30 people ever. Can you imagine engaging with a customer care company and you take the survey and you're not angry? And you're just telling them that like you enjoyed them and that you'd work with them again. The brand's more than just a pun. I really wanted to stand out in a big boring space. My favorite thing about these photos is that sometimes, so that's Brooklyn and Bowling Branch Parachute. These are like my three main competitors when I started up. I used to actually flip these photos around in this deck, and then I would like have a second joke with the audience where I'd be like, in fact, that's not even Bowl and Branch, that's Parachute. And it would, because you literally can't tell the difference. There's always the white sheets, the white walls. There's a French press coffee placed on the edge of the bed, which is insane. It's a terrible place for a French press coffee, spilling all over your sheets. And so we've always done things very differently, dogs in bed, whiskey in bed, guys in bed. Like I had me and my buddies with avocado face masks on, drinking red wine for our first advertisement. And it just absolutely crushed on Facebook with a very particular demographic. And, our product's incredibly sustainable. And I keep saying but Sheets and Giggles products are incredibly sustainable. And it uses no insecticides, less water than cotton. No arable land is needed for eucalyptus trees, like cotton, which uses about, I think, 2.5% of the world's arable land just for cotton. Cotton also uses a really outsized amount of insecticides, including the neonicotinoids that are killing bird and bee populations. Cotton uses, I think, something like a quarter of all the world's insecticides. It's a hugely insecticide intensive crop. And then polyester. Yeah, I would go home if you guys are not home already. I'd check your sheets tonight. If you're sleeping in polyester, throw those away. Don't burn them. They won't burn. They'll melt. Throw them away. You're breathing in microplastics every night. You wake up in microplastics. Your skin's absorbing microplastics. Polyesters. We don't have a sleep problem in America. I mean, I think we do have a sleep problem. We have a sleep crisis. We've got like a plastic problem in America. Like you sleep in plastic sheets on top of a foam mattress, which is made from plastic, with a mattress mat plastic protector on top of a pillow that is covered in polyester that is stuffed with plastic foam. And you got your plastic curtains, right? Your polyester curtains hanging in your house. You got your polyester shirt that you're walking around breathing all day, shedding into your waterways and your laundry. So never wanted to do anything with microplastics, and I'm glad that I never did. In fact, we did plastic-free packaging for, I think, the first 6 years of the company. Before the mattress, we had to vacuum seal the mattress in order to get it to people. And we used recyclable plastic, but still, I had to compromise there. And then we used to plant a tree for every order. That unfortunately got too expensive during COVID, but we ended up planting like 30,000 trees, I think, for our first 30,000 orders when we started, which was pretty awesome. And that was for like reforestation efforts around the US. And the whole reason I got on Good Morning America is I'm a big believer in karma. In April of that year, I donated $40,000 to the Colorado Emergency Relief Fund for COVID-19. All my friends were startup founders, CEOs, and they were all doing these really cool, like AI tracking the spread and like how to slow it and all that stuff. And I was just like, well, I sell bed sheets, so I can't really help. But I do make money. And so we pledged 20% of our sales for 30 days. At that point, we were making about $200,000 a month. So I sent 40 grand into the governor's office, into the fund. I got a phone call from the governor's office that next day. They were like, hey, did you mean to do this? Because the Broncos donated like 50 grand and like Sheets and Giggles donated 40 grand. Like, did you hit the wrong button? And I was like, no, I'm sick of, Kim Kardashian's company donating like 1% of net profits, like that they zero out and they just use it for marketing. And so I just pledged revenue instead of profit. And that ended up coming back to me big time. Amazon named me as one of 6 small businesses helping during the pandemic. And that ended up getting me the interview with Good Morning America and yada, yada, yada. I think that's one of the reasons why Sheets and Giggles became a pretty big name in the bedding space and one that a lot of people recognize. And so that's the end of my presentation. I appreciate you all paying attention and listening. And I'm very proud to, be able to talk about my journey. I'm also happy to talk about recruiting, the labor market, the job market that we're seeing in the U.S. right now. My resume builder makes around, I think, like 20,000 resumes a month, or something like that. And we're helping a lot of people make resumes. And my free resume template's been used like 7 million times over the years by people all around the world. And I love helping people with the job market.
We thank you for watching. We meet every Tuesday between 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern. There is no cost and an option to become a speaker too. Find East Trade Wins on LinkedIn.